The opinions expressed on the following audio program are solely those of the host and the guests. Burner Podcast is an independently produced, not-for-profit show and is not associated with the Burning Man organization or its subsidiaries. The views expressed are not representative of the entire Burning Man community and are presented here for entertainment purposes only. In short, calm the fuck down. It's just a podcast.
All right, this is episode number 71, and it is 269 days till the man burns as of this recording. Shout out to Soup Can. I was just looking up some info on our Facebook page, and a message popped up from him. Soup Can is in Canada. I love that name, by the way. The Great White North. And he pinged us to share that listening to the show had helped him and his other virgin pal prep for life on the playa. So thank you, Soup Can. Thank you for taking the time to reach out. And dear God, I hope we're doing you poor virgins a justice on this show. We've done some housekeeping over at burnerpodcast.com, so feel free to swing by when you do get a chance. We just kind of did some cleanup on the layout and navigation and design stuff. So while you're there, you can check out our other show, Burner Podcast Presents Alkaline, featuring exclusive mixes from DJs who are active in the community. And also linked over yonder is Into the Fire, hosted by Super Suze out of the Bay Area. It's a lot like this show, but a lot more likely to get syndicated by NPR. I've kind of let go of that NPR dream. I used to talk about NPR a lot, like earlier on this show, but I still giggle at wiener jokes too often. Wiener. In addition, associate producer Tori Massey and intern Will just got back from Arizona, where they got a very warm reception from Camp Walter. So we are looking forward to doing a Camp Walter episode for you guys very soon, where you can get to know that amazing family. What else? I just got an email giving the thumbs up for a big interview score, like right before I started recording this interview. So this intro. So I'm looking forward to announcing that to you really soon. Also next Friday, I'm scheduled to sit down with Lorenzo, host of Psychedelic Salon podcast. So I am psyched about that one. I've been listening to that show for a long time. They have all the Terrence McKenna recordings, and it's just he's such a great host. So excited about that one. It's been a while since I've really listened to podcasts. The more I did this show and started producing other podcast shows, it just kind of, I don't know, it's weird. Once you start producing a thing, you stop consuming it as much. But I'm really excited about that one. Cool. So, okay, that's enough announcement-y type stuff. Let's go ahead and get into today's topic. There is this archaeological site of a 9th century Viking settlement in Sweden that had this like massive burial for an epic warrior. The skeleton was found buried with a battle axe, sword, spears, horses, all kinds of stuff. Basically, evidence pointing to the fact that this was a celebrated warrior and military strategist. And recent DNA evidence has brought to light the fact that this badass of badasses was a woman. Why am I telling you this? When reviewing the audio from today's interview with one Otto Von Danger, Otto said something towards the end that made me think of this story. I remember just making a mental note of it. And then now I can't be sure which part of the story it was because it was a bunch of things. But keep an ear out for that and see if that connection pops up for you. But also the other thing is, more than anything, it's fascinating to me to consider when I am talking to someone all that goes into a person by the time you meet them. It's not just the most recent decades of socialization, but also like the many lifetimes of their ancestors that came before them. You know, Otto is this tall Viking type character, and so you probably already know Otto Von Danger is today's subject. Otto's a legend in the community. He is beloved, old school DPW grunt. He's the man behind Burn Wallstreet, which is arguably Burning Man's most notorious large-scale art project. Many of you may remember him as possibly the most memorable character in Spark, a Burning Man story. which I must confess, I've somehow not been able to get around to watching in its entirety, believe it or not. I know, bad burner, bad. So this one was recorded in Oakland, California, where a whole lot of big-ass art you see on Playa gets built and stored. Rebel Dharma, who produced today's episode, describes Otto as an OG, which, coming from my hip-hop podcast background, it resonated with me. For those of you not versed, it means, community elder, if you will. Rebel felt strongly that Otto's is a story that needs to be told, so I moved some things around for a planned trip that I had to Sacramento, and we were able to make an Oakland trip happen in order to record a couple of episodes for this show, and I'm so happy that we did. An important thing that you should know about Otto is that he has been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and was given 2 months to live. That was about 4.5 months ago, and Otto's still very much with us, cracking beers and smoking cigarettes and pounding away at his keyboard, trying to bring awareness to our current net neutrality crisis. He's an activist, and he's not planning on stopping. The most consistent adjective you hear when Otto comes up in conversation is controversial. I'm doing the quoties. He is a provocateur, and not in a dickish kind of way, by the way. I can tell you, as an artist navigating the entertainment industry, I've met a lot of quote-unquote provocateurs for whom provocation, it's a shtick. Otto is not an act. He walks the walk, and whatever provocation may arise is simply a ripple of the energy he naturally puts out into the world as he relentlessly pursues his personal mission of leaving this earth a better place than the one he arrived in. He's not just like poking bears for fun. That's an important observation, I think, that I had of Otto. And that warning that plays at the beginning of every episode of this show? Well, it's almost as if we recorded that shit specifically to prepare you for someday when we have Otto Von Danger on the podcast, because he's definitely going to say some shit that will make our delicate 2017 sensibilities squirm. I really appreciated this experience. Burner Podcast is about giving you a snapshot, a portrait of the artist, the camp, the art project, the adventure. And so, as you know, we don't do much editing on this show, mostly just like some sound cleanup type stuff. So what that means for Otto is, you know how you'll be talking to someone and you'll be chatting, and then all of a sudden they'll say something that makes you kind of speechless for a second? Like a left hook wisdom bomb right into your ribs, or a jarring observation that's delivered completely unapologetically right into your nose, that just kind of like short circuits you for a minute, and you're like, you don't know what to say. Otto does that like once every 2 minutes. And like I said, he's a big dude. He is an imposing, intimidating figure. I think we actually do talk about that at some point. And it's interesting how much that affects the way that people take a person in. I know I'm a big guy, so I'm hyper aware of like how I deliver information. But with Otto, I get the sense that Otto has no frame of reference for what it's like to walk into a room and not feel like he's completely in charge. And as I'm writing these notes, I'm listening to the interview in the background, and I just like kind of projectile laughed at a section where I started to set up a question by prefacing it with a short description, and Otto just kind of decided he's going to start talking. Which again, not at all to be a dick. He's warm and welcoming. It's just that like Otto's like the kind of dude where he's just kind of like gotten all the information he needs in order to start answering the question or move the conversation along. So he's kind of like, yeah, I'm going to start talking now. So you're gonna hear that a bunch of times during today's show, because if you're like a regular listener to the show, there's like this kind of ebb and flow, kind of like a little ballet a lot of times. This cute little conversation, and Otto's just like, nope, I'm talking now, and this is what you fucking need to hear about this thing that I got to tell you. And so just a heads up, there will be a lot of that, and it's great. Also, at some point, Otto says the phrase, "Your kids might be human eating cannibals on the Arctic Circle." So that's probably my favorite quote of the interview. And after the interview, do stick around for an hour of a dynamite set by Dénouement, which was recorded in the middle of a dust storm on Tuesday afternoon at Burning Man of 2017 at the Burners Without Borders camp. So that's the music that we're going to take you out with after we're done with Otto here. But for now, let's go down the rabbit hole with Otto. Today's episode is entitled Otto Von Danger Refuses to Die. I go by Mr. Arash, even though nobody calls me Mr. Welcome to Burner Podcast.
On the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the life. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rain. The first thing I met was a fly with the bugs and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no name.
Yeah, because it's not a big deal to us sitting in the room, but when you're like, if you have headphones on and you're listening to this conversation, after 20 minutes it's gonna get really annoying. Yeah, so you're here working. I mean, like you're working on the net neutrality thing. You're trying to activate your.
Well, I've always been somewhat of an activist and politically involved. I come from Norway, Scandinavian country, and we all get involved.
Yeah.
That's why the country works so well, and not just mine, but other countries in that region.
You were born in Norway?
Yeah.
When did you move here?
1975. Summer of Sam, New York City, no air conditioning. I learned about racism, sexism, mafia car bombings, and serial killers all in the same time.
What brought you here?
My mother married an American. My mother's been through a lot of husbands, so that's how I got here.
And how old
And
were
I
you?
was young. I was like 9 or 10.
And that was definitely coming from a culture that
But
was already...
I lived in England for a year, so I knew English already.
Right.
It was very helpful. But I knew it. When I first got here, I spoke English with a Norwegian accent, which, of course, all the kids made fun of me, so that's why I talk such bland American.
Yeah.
Even though I lived in New York, I never picked up the New York accent because that was something, that would stand out.
That's funny, because you were saying earlier about how Norwegians are already, like, very politically activated, so you came here in a very activated time in American history, already from a culture.
Well, it was right at the end of Nixon being impeached and all that. Politics back then was a whole lot different. Both the parties weren't too different, in a good way.
Right.
They have some similarities these days, but in a bad way.
Yeah.
Back then, the difference between a Republican policy and a Democratic policy wasn't too bad. Even if you didn't agree with the one or the other, you could live with it.
Right.
Because everybody was in the center pretty much back then. And then the Republicans just did this sweep to the far right, and the Democrats chased them. We don't even have a centrist party, let alone a left-wing party in this country anymore. The Democrats, if they were to run in England, would be the Tory party. Yeah. They'd be the extreme right wing. And the Republicans, they just throw them in prison. You're Nazis and child molesters.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
So, but they do have similarities still. They're all bought and paid for by the bankers. And the difference between Trump and Obama, when you look at like the Treasury Department, nothing.
Right.
They put a bunch of Goldman Sachs guys in there. There's no difference.
Yeah. And so you're. Let's I guess illuminate the listeners of sort of where you're at with your health right now. I understand.
Okay, well, for the last 25 years, I've been suffering from Gulf War syndrome, which they told me I was not going to survive past 1994.
What is Gulf War?
Okay, Gulf War syndrome is, there's three major factors, and how you were exposed, how much you were exposed depends on the different symptoms. But basically depleted uranium, being, this guy, Dick Cheney, maybe you heard of him, he came with a great idea. The best way to get rid of nuclear waste ever is to put it into bombs and throw it into somebody else's country. Now it's Iraq's problem, it's not ours. It's just all nuclear waste. We didn't need those shells. The conventional weapons we had were more than sufficient to take out their 1950s level fucking Russian tanks. But again, it was a deal to get rid of nuclear waste. And so even like sailors or people in supply chain in the States, if they were in that chain, they were exposed to depleted uranium, let alone all the troops on the front.
Right. I'm sorry, pause once again. Continue.
The gunshots will be later.
Yeah. From the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. If they come to the inside, we'll take care of that.
I just want to make sure that they're not going to steal the rental car I drove here.
No. Actually, this neighborhood's pretty good. I'm in a strip. If you go 5 blocks that way, there's evil, rich white people.
Yeah.
If you go 5 blocks that way, it's total deep ghetto.
Yeah.
But this strip is like 20% of every kind of race, and everybody's blue collar or low white collar level working class people. So they all take care of each other. There's no predominant race, so there's nobody's trying to push their agenda on anybody else. It's a great neighborhood. I love it.
It sounds like it's exactly the kind of place you would be attracted to living in.
Exactly.
How long have you been here?
This place about 2 years, but I've lived in this area for 15 years. I lived in Berkeley before. Yeah. Before Berkeley went anti-art.
Yeah. So you've watched Oakland kind of become what it's turned into today. Yeah,
I've totally seen Oakland become what it is today. And some of it's good, and a lot of it's not. The West Oakland now, people can't afford to live there anymore. You'd see giant tent cities and whatnot, because the San Franciscans, which can't afford to live there anymore, moved over here. And they're willing to pay $3,000 for a one-bedroom shack in West Oakland. So, a family that lived there the whole they can't afford to compete with that, and they get kicked out of their own houses. Yeah. If you go to those tent cities, most of those people are employed. Yeah. They're not, your standard street people, with mental health issues or drug problems. No, they're just families who can't afford to rent here. Yeah. There are jobs here, so they can't go somewhere else.
Do you believe the saying that where San Francisco goes, Burning Man goes?
I think Burning Man holds on to that San Francisco title like it means something important, but the reality is most of the Burning Man communities over here in the Oakland, Berkeley area. Right. Most of the art gets built over here. There's still, there's San Francisco factory over there, and they keep their office over there, which I'm sure costs them 5 times more than they would pay over here. Right. But they do that so they can keep it to San Francisco. Because if you ask somebody in Tennessee where San Francisco is, they might know where it is. But you ask them where Oakland is, they have a clue. They've heard of it because of the Raiders or the A's or something, but they don't know where Oakland is. Right. L.A., they know where that is. San Francisco. So I think that's, most of their stuff happens in Gerlach, Nevada. That's not on their title. Yeah. And, that's a smart tactical move. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, so we're talking about your health, though. You're saying Gulf War.
So, I have Gulf War syndrome. The other thing, anti-nerve agent inoculations. The Army was given pills, which were bad, but not as bad as, so we were, and it was all waiver stuff. You had to sign a waiver to get it.
Yeah. And you were in the Army?
I was in the Marines.
Marines, okay.
And I told my people, this sounds like a load of shit. You're signing your rights away. Don't do it. 2 of my guys were scared enough. They were both dead within a year. Wow. The inoculation was also a contagion. So when they walked back into the barracks, they gave it to us. When they went to the chow hall, they gave it to the cooks. When they got on the ship, they gave it to the sailors. If they got injured and got sent back to a hospital in the United States, they gave it to those doctors and nurses that were taking care of them at the hospital in a 6 to 8 month period, incubation period. And that's another factor. And the one the government that still does not, the other major factor that the government still does not admit is the oil fires. Yeah. So Saddam lit up all the Kuwaiti oil rigs, and instead of the government letting civilian contractors come in and put them out, they had us do it. Plus, we're fighting in that. And, you're breathing oil and eating oil and drinking, that's not... A lot of the symptoms that Gulf War syndrome suffered was found like during the Horizon, the BP spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Of course, their symptoms were a lot lighter than ours, but it was similar symptoms. And so all the vet groups were like, see, and of course, the United States government does not want to admit oil is bad in any category because they're owned by the oil industries.
Right. And what is all of this doing to your health? Like, what are the experiences that you're having?
So it's the way I like to explain it so that people, have you ever had a toothache?
Yes.
Okay. Now imagine that through your whole body, and it never stops. In fact, it just gets worse.
Yeah.
That's basically what I've been going through the last 25 years. Just recently, though, I was, the VA says that I have cirrhosis of the liver and pancreatic cancer. They gave me 2 months to live. That was about 4 months ago.
You're still here kicking.
Well, I'm doing well. Not only am I not going to fall over and die for anybody, but I'm taking the Rick Simpson oil, which is, there's a lot of small accounts of it working. And of course, again, the U.S. government will not back any major studies, so we'll never know until they do.
It's what oil?
It's called Rick Simpson oil. It's a high concentrate. If you take a pound, it takes like a pound of good weed to make a month's supply of it. It's a high concentrate of THC and CBDs, and it bombards cancer cells.
Right.
I'm actually starting to feel better. So I'm thinking that it's working. If I'm still alive in 2 months, I'll go to the VA and have them check me again. If it's gone or shrunk, I'll be all over the internet saying,
Yeah.
I mean, I've told people I'm doing it, but I'll be bombarding you with, get on the Rick Simpson oil. Don't take that chemotherapy shit. Chemotherapy, the basis behind that is they're trying to kill the cancer cells at the same time that shit's trying to kill you. So the question is, that's why I can't do it, because of the cirrhosis, is it would kill my liver and before it killed the cancer cells.
Right.
And anyway, you look at that's just a bad way of going about treating a disease.
Yeah.
But it's huge. It's huge amounts of money for the petrochemical industry.
Absolutely. I just want to put this into a reference. I want to put this in a reference for listeners who didn't keep up with that part. You were given 2 months to live. It's been 4 months, and not only that, the first thing that you're doing when I walk in here to start recording this interview is you're online activating the community so that people can fight the net neutrality. because if there was a report saying on Rick Simpson oil, which I was just talking about, and I wanted to put it on, link a website to you with net neutrality, your provider who might also be owned by the same large shell corporation that owns pharmaceutical companies might go, no. And then my website is not available to people, or they won't even let me put it on at all. That's net neutrality. Yeah. They can censor, and they will. Don't think they won't for a minute. We just wanted the rules to go away because it's hampering our control. No, that's bullshit. They want to censor you. They want to do it for profit, but they also want to do it for political motivations or corporate reasons. Absolutely.
And we got to stop them. Now, does the internet need some controls? Yes. Russians shouldn't be able to put propaganda all over our airwaves without us knowing about it. Now, should they be able to buy space? Sure. Yeah. But it should say Russian propaganda. That's what you're listening to. This is from Russia. So that people are informed properly. So that, there's a line you got to walk, especially if it's, influencing our democracy. Had people known that they were looking at Russian bullshit, for instance, during the last, they would have changed their opinion on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And we're not saying that the Russians wouldn't have the ability to do this. First Amendment, they should. Mm-hmm. I even believe foreign citizens should be able to say their piece. That's the whole thing about America. We're supposed to be the big white shining castle on the hill. Yeah. If we're not doing that, then what's the fucking point?
Yeah, my family is from Iran, and I lived there when I was younger. I was born here, but I lived there when I was younger, so I got to have some experience living under Islamic Republic rule. The thing that I've always
that's similar. Here's a big thing.
Please.
You look at all these Christian groups, and I know Christians and Muslims will say that they're not the same thing, But they're basically trying to do the same thing that they do in Iran. They want a theology.
Absolutely.
A theocracy, I mean.
No, they do. And this is go ahead.
That takes away your freedom. So I'll let you continue your story because I'm interested.
No,
I know a few people from Iran. I know more Pakistanis is where my experience comes from that area.
Yeah, and I want your opinion on this because the thing that people ask me those questions, like, is there ever fear that we could end up in a similar place? My feeling, the thing that keeps me from waking up in the middle of the night screaming in terror, I mean, I'm not saying I'm sleeping that well, but just stopping me from screaming in terror, is that something about American culture so far has been that when you start to fuck with our freedom of speech, that seems like the final line that pushes people the hardest here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other ways they try sneaky ways to do it, but I think this connects back to what you're working on with
That's why it's the First Amendment in the Constitution. You know, that's one thing the founding fathers understood. If you can speak and have the freedom and feel safe saying anything you want, and there's people saying some bad shit, but that's their opinion.
Right.
You know, it's one, and we're not talking about somebody's trying to incite violence. We're not talking about Nazis that are saying we want to kill all the Jews and the Muslims and the brown people. Right. That's not freedom of speech. That's inciting violence.
Right.
Okay, but if you want to say I don't like those people, go ahead. Or I do like this, or I don't like that. Sure. And yes, if you take that freedom away, it gets really scary really fast. Right. And that's a huge difference between the United States and a lot of countries. I mean, even in Western European and Scandinavian countries, they have bans on certain things. You can't even, you wave a swastika. Now, I would say that's a good thing. But nonetheless, that is banning of freedom of expression, where here you can.
Right.
So, yeah, if you tell the Nazis they can't wave their flag here anymore, they start shooting people.
How old were you when you got into the Marine Corps?
I was 19 when I first went to the Marine Corps.
What drew you there?
I was doing some shady shit, and I knew law of averages. I'd probably get caught, so what do I want to do? I could have gone to college. I was smart if I had an offer for a scholarship at Boston College. But I didn't want to go into debt for a BA, and I didn't know what I wanted to get a master's or PhD, and that's a lot of money and a lot of investment, so I said, okay, that's not on the table, at least at this point. What do I want to do? And then there's the military. If I'm going to go to the military, I want to be the best. And I want to travel. Two things you'll get in the Marine Corps. And yep, I got to go to all the worst places in the world.
It's like the worst cruise ever.
Yeah. Welcome to the suck.
Yeah. What was, so were you in there during the minimum amount of time, or did you re-enlist?
Oh, no, I got involuntarily. I enlisted for 4 years. I got involuntarily extended for next year, 2.5 for the first Gulf War.
Okay. And then so
I did about 6.5 years.
Right. So where was your life when you left? Where were you living?
I moved to Santa Rosa, Sebastopol, near Santa Rosa, just north of here. And I was married at the time, but that fell through. That's a whole other story.
A whole different podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, the arts get involved in your life, right? I mean, was that
happening before? So I've always been a builder before the Marine Corps and after. I've always been into art before the Marine Corps and after. In fact, in my platoon at boot camp, I was not only the platoon guide, which is like the head guy for the recruits, but I was also the platoon artist. I did the flag for the platoon. And in Norse culture, that's the norm. You carve the longboat, and then you sail it across the seas and then explore and trade, and, if they're assholes, kill them, which fit, Marine Corps fit right into that. The reason I stay in the Marine Corps, though, is I don't agree with U.S. policy in a lot of cases. Some cases I do, but most of them I don't. Most of it's, they have rubber plants in Nicaragua, and we want them. That's why we're down there. Yeah. Not because of communism or anything like that. And, I'm not a mercenary.
Yeah, yeah. Did you know that going in, or was that something that was...
In fact, here's a great story. Yeah. When I was on a delayed entry program for a couple months because they have cycles, and so I had to wait for my cycle to come up to go in. And I went on a protest in New York City, protesting the war in Central America. And I got on the cover of the New York Times carrying a coffin that said Honduras. Little did I know, 3 years later I'd be in Honduras.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to go to the recruiter's office and steal the newspaper so they wouldn't see the picture of me protesting about war in Central America.
So this was before social media. Social media, I take it.
Yeah, this is way before social media.
Yeah.
Get rid of the paper is all I needed to do. They're not, they weren't going to catch me on the 6 o'clock news.
So what was the next big landmark that came after you come out of the Marine Corps?
I came down. Well, after my marriage fell apart, I came down here. That was the big landmark, and I got Berkeley actually.
Okay, Berkeley.
But back then, Berkeley and Oakland were pretty much the same thing. Now, Berkeley's become more, we call them Republicans with ponytails. They wear a tie-dye, they got a ponytail, but they're driving a beige car and live in a beige house, and if you're not conforming to the norm, you're gone. There used to be big art collectives in Berkeley. They basically threw us all out at the same time.
Yeah.
It was about 10, 15 years ago. And we all went to Oakland, and that's when Oakland really started jumping, at least in the art and Burning Man world.
From a lot of artists leaving Berkeley.
Yeah, and we left and never looked back.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's funny because
I make a point of not to spend money in Berkeley because you're against us because we make art.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And it's funny. It's a lot of times, when we're talking about this day that when they try to silence any sort of group or try to end any sort of movement, it just ends up doubling down. It ends up spreading out further. I mean, if anything, this renaissance that's happening in Oakland with artists came as a result of that experience.
Right, well, but come again now, here they are gentrifying Oakland. Mm-hmm. And the big joke in the art community is we're all going to end up living in Vallejo before we move to Portland or Seattle.
Yeah.
But that's not even realistic because Portland and Seattle are already overcrowded and the rent's too high. Yeah. So where do we go? And even Vallejo, the property values are skyrocketing up there because a lot of artists already have made that move.
Yeah. So at some point, Burning Man comes into your life.
Okay, so about 95, I started meeting burners, mostly on job sites. Hey, Russ Leslie was a big burner, and he was part of their original infrastructure, one of their managers. And he saw my skills and heard about the other stuff I was doing, and was like, dude, you need to check out Burning Man. And I had other friends, Andrew Sano, and the old Camp Carp crew. And so I knew that in their Berkeley, Oakland area for the most part. A few from San Francisco, but mostly Berkeley, Oakland area. And 5 years later, I went to Burning Man.
Yeah.
Burning Man was a lot smaller when I first heard. In 95, it was a couple of thousand people. Right. 2,000. Which, had I known about that, I would have gone because I go to the regionals nowadays, and they are what Burning Man used to be. They're fantastic. In fact, that is the future. Yeah. If you want to go to Coachella with art, then you go to Burning Man. But if you want to have that real artist experience and community interaction, go to these regionals. They're fantastic, and Burning Man knows that too. They promote these regionals and help them as best they can.
Yeah. No, it's so funny. I mean, I've had so many conversations with people where they want to get the experience, and I'm like, all right, don't beat yourself up trying to go to Burning Man. Go to one of your regionals.
Yeah.
But a lot of times people will find excuses not to go. Somehow, they still want to see the Super Bowl, but they don't want to watch their local game that leads up to that. Same thing. They want to know who's doing the presidential race, but they're not as interested in their local.
Which is fallacy, because in real life politics, local politics rule. Mm-hmm. If the president or the candidates running for president come to the Bay Area, they need the local mayors and Congress people and state senators to go around and get their donors to support them and put signs up and all that shit. That's how you get elected in the real game.
Yeah.
It's the foot game. It's not I know they all talk about these huge donors and shit, but that doesn't get votes.
Yeah.
How many TV commercials swayed you in an election?
TV. A lot of our generation.
But even if you're on the internet, right? You get that, Bernie commercial comes on, that might sway you.
Sure.
But, how many Hillary Clintons I'm Joe Blow for state senator, and I think crime is bad. Yeah. Does that sway your election? Generally, no. Yeah. Generally, most people are going to be swayed because they read something. Mm-hmm. Okay, that commercial might have got you interested, and I want to know more about this person. That's about all that's going to do. Now, if you do the research, then you'll know. Most people don't want to be bothered with that.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Absolutely.
They don't even teach civics in this country anymore. When I first got to this country, it was being phased out. Mm. And that's, knowing that if you got a pothole in your street, who do you call? That's civics, How do you, how does your city council work? How does your school board work? How does the state senate work? How does, the United States Senate and Congress work? And the president, and the more you know about these things and how they work, the more you get involved and you have an interest in it, and the more you'll know it. Oh yeah, we definitely don't want that retard in that position. It could screw us all. Or, wow, that person's really smart. We should put them in that position, even though they're not very charismatic, because the consequences of that.
What do you think the difference is? Like, why we can't make politics as sexy here as people, I don't know.
Well, I guess first and foremost, most people don't know about it. You see all these interviews on YouTube with college kids, who's the vice president? They don't even know.
Yeah.
Those are educated people. Now imagine the not educated people. You think they know who the vice? No, they don't. So if we're not even giving our educated people the basics, you're not going to get anywhere. So that's one thing. You got to educate people about how the system works and do it when they're young. That should be grade school shit. And then, we emphasize it throughout their education. The other thing that really needs to happen is money needs to be taken out of politics. 90% of the problems we have with bad politicians and nothing getting done is because both these parties, no matter what they say about abortion or whatever, the laws they're passing are pro-corporate, pro-billionaire, and they're fuck the rest of us to hell. And they use issues like abortion or guns or whatever to wedge us into voting for either one of these groups that neither one of them represent us anymore.
Right.
So if you got money out of politics, and a lot of democratic socialist countries do this, so what happens is you still have to get the same, say you're running for governor, and you have to get 50,000 signatures in order to be put on the ballot to be able. That still applies. You still have to run around door to door, get 50,000 signatures. But at that point, once you do, you get put in the system. The government pays for your campaign, but you get exactly the amount of same commercial time as everybody else that got those 50,000 signatures. You get the same amount of radio time, the same amount of money for posters and running your campaign stations or whatever. So there's no outside influences for money, and if, say, you were just born richer, that doesn't factor either. You still get the same amount of money. And let's say somebody does give you money. Guess what? You go to jail, and they do, because that's called bribery. When somebody gives you money, and you're running for a position of power, and they're trying to influence you with that money, it's bribery, one-on-one. But here, it's freaking legal now. Back in the 70s, they had Abscam, where they were running around busting congressmen and senators for taking money for shit.
Yeah, that's like, you know what?
Now it's legal.
Getting paid for sex, illegal. Getting paid for sex with a video camera, it's okay, it's art.
It's okay.
It's pornography. I just came from Moxie.
Well, the big thing about that is once it's an even field,
right,
the only difference between the candidates is their charisma and their ideas.
Yeah. In an ideal world. I just
well, it happens. You go to Norway, Finland, Sweden, Iceland, even Germany's almost there.
Yeah, they're so much smaller.
And Germany's a huge, so their argument, Norway's only got 3 million people in the whole world. Yeah, what Germany does, and Germany's, they're not quite as big as the United States, but they're like over 200 million Germans. They're not a small country.
Yeah.
They're number 2 or 3 in the economic powers of the world. And if they can do it, if they can run their electrical grid is like 73% now, run on alternative fuels or renewables. Why aren't we doing that?
Yeah.
Hell, even China's doing better than us.
So
and they're a communist country.
Our focus really could be, as a movement, to focus on removing money from the politics and let the rest of it work itself out.
Because the reason why I say that's the number one issue is because any other issues are not going to get solved until that happens. Because they're owned. Climate change, which is the next, what I would say is the next biggest subject, will never happen. Nothing will happen on any meaningful level while the fossil fuel industry is dumping billions of dollars, the Koch brothers, for instance, into these campaigns. Because, look at Trump. Coal, clean coal. Yeah. That's just nuts. Yeah. That's nuts. And here's the thing that America's got to realize, and that these fuckers won't tell you. Whoever does put up the solar panels or does the tidal wave power shit, they will own the power of the next century. They will, when they want to call the president's picking up the phone because they can say, I can shut down 8 states worth of power here. So if you're ExxonMobil CEO right now, I'd be diversifying my thing. I would want to be on that next level.
Yeah. Well, this makes the perfect segue, because what I was going to say is I just came from Moxie, and I was sitting there with Tori, and he sends his love, by the way.
I know Tori.
He sends his love. And he was saying, when I read him, that the first moment that he really had, the first art piece that motivated him to want to create art was Burn Wallstreet. That was the first one. He said he saw this thing and it blew him away, and that's how he ended up going down his rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Tell us about that experience. Tell us about what motivated you to do it. What was the story?
Well, first of all, I had other ideas for that year.
Yeah.
I had a friend.
What year was this, first of all? 2012.
Okay. So it was about the end of 2011 season. I'm sitting around. That's the time you have to start planning big art.
Right.
It takes a long time. You got to fundraise. You got to talk to the org. They're already turning in, for instance, right now, if you want an honorary, that date might even be passed already.
Right.
So you got to start playing like right after the event if you're a big artist, or if you want any kind of help from the org.
Yeah. Now, were you doing DPW work at this point?
Yes,
you are. Okay.
I worked on the man and the man bass crew. Right. Sometimes both, sometimes one or the other, off and on for like 12 years.
So what was the idea behind Burn Wallstreet? Where did you come up with that?
Okay, so my friend, who's a fellow veteran, and part of Veterans for Peace, came over. He was all pissed off because Bank of America had ripped off a bunch of his money. I had a lot of friends Bank of America ripped off, but he was like lividly pissed off. And he's like, we should just fuck Burning Man. We should go build a Bank of America and burn out. I thought about it for a second, and it was right at that time, right, that 2007 shit had now integrated down to our level. And everybody was still pissed. These guys were still walking around. They're getting bailed out by Obama. Yeah. Right? And everybody's mad about it, and nothing's happening, and nothing. And I said, okay, screw my other ideas. This has to be done. It has to be done now. And I also knew I'd have to convince the Burning Man org to let this happen because of the scale of it. It's it's 5 of their man bases. Yeah. And they're going to give me like a month, where they got like 2.5 months to build. And on top of that, they don't like big politics involved in their event. They don't want to be classified. I know Burning Man, everybody thinks Burning Man is a liberal organization. No. Half of Burning Man is extremely rich white people that tend to be Republicans. So they don't want to push anybody away for political reasons. So they try to stay off of politics. But like I said, at that point,
how do you feel? I want to know how you feel about that, though. How do you feel about? Do you think that's something?
I agree in a sense. I think you're not going to unless you get people together talking. Right. You're not going to change anything. Right. Okay, so I do agree in that.
You understand their motivation.
I understand the motivation. Well, that's more financial for them than it is political. But for me, I it's a means to an end. If you can get the rich billionaire guy swinging a hammer next to the laborer guy, and they start talking, then they realize, because everybody has their own perspective. Right. And until you see other people's perspectives, you just not acknowledge it. So the rich person thinks, this is all great. My taxes are lower than they've ever been. I'm doing great. My business is skyrocketing, but the regular worker class person is like, my wages are the same as they were in 1975. And I can't afford my rent here anymore, so their perspectives are completely different. And until they cross, nothing's going to change. So that's a good thing. And I'm sure Burning Man does realize that too. I'm not saying that's just my opinion. Right. But for diversity, you want the money people to come to Burning Man. That's, how they make money. Right. It's a company like any other. And they say they're a nonprofit, but I don't see them putting money back into the community. If they were a nonprofit, every art piece out there would be paid for by them. Instead, the artists out there begging. If they do give them money, honorarium money, it's like 20%. Yeah. And listen to folks, don't get that 20%. That means Burning Man will be in your business. It's better if you got to raise 80%, just raise the 100%. And then you don't have to worry about dealing with the org as much. You still have to deal with them, but honorary level dealing with them is a total nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, any listener might be able to say, like, come on, man, this is the guy that convinced them to do, like, the most overtly...
Well, I mean, still, yeah. You still have to deal with it, or say that was not an honorary program, Burn Wallstreet. I still would have had to deal with them just because of the scale of the piece and the political statement. And they could have told me no because they didn't want politics in there. So I still had to convince them. And that's a bad example. But say, I don't know, like the giant chair I did in 2011, right? I didn't deal with them at all.
Yeah.
No politics involved. It was fun. On the cover of Slate magazine, and nobody even knew that I was doing anything that year. And then they came across it and went, "Wow, yay!" And it was a great year for me because I only had to work about a week building it, and the man was already done, so I could chill and actually enjoy the event. Burn Wallstreet, I had 2 days off in 7 months.
Yeah.
Doing Burn Wallstreet. One of the days was in the middle of my build in Reno, and I just shut the door. I'd been like 3 months at that point, and I had not had a day off in 3 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna take a day off today, and I slept for a day. And the next time was when they finally, quote unquote, opened the door on the playa, and I had about a day.
Yeah.
Which I spent sleeping too. So that was my Burning Man that year, was sleeping.
Sleeping and building. So how did you convince them to do this overtly?
Well, they know me, and they know me, and I'm one of those people that I walk the walk. I don't just talk the talk. So they knew that I could do it,
right?
And they knew it would bring them publicity. Nobody, myself included, expected the level of publicity we got from the project, but nonetheless, we knew it would bring in publicity. Which is good for them, and good as for an artist myself. That's name recognition. That's good. How many famous artists are there running around the 20th century?
But the overtly political statement of it, though, you were saying.
Well, that's also is the statement. In fact, one of my favorite moments from the whole Burn Wallstreet project was I had a radio interview with both Fox Radio and NPR on the same day. And both of them, so NPR gets to Empire, and they're immediately attacking me. You're this gun-wielding Marine, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. And I break it down to them. Look, the left wing and the right wing disagree on a bunch of stuff, but we all agree, fuck these bankers. Fuck what they did. And so within a minute, they're on my, oh, yeah. And then they're proud that I was, and with Fox. Oh, you're this hippie Burning Man guy, fuck you. They're attacking me when I first get there in the beginning of the interview. By the end, they're kissing my ass. All right. And on the same day. And that was it. It was an easy sell because I did not let them throw me off with their bullet issues. Yeah. That's what they do. I know that. I just redirect back to the real argument. Mm-hmm. We can disagree about Bibles and guns and abortions right now, and that's not going to change anyway. When was the last time they made a law about any of those things? Right. 50 years ago, right? It's not going to happen. So don't worry about it. Let's worry about the shit we are actually going to do. Yeah. And let's do it right. And most of us, Americans, agree on shit when it comes to that. Right? Yeah. Hardworking people should be able to get a good enough wage that if you work 40 hours a week hard, you can at least afford to keep your family in decent housing and, go to Disneyland for 2 weeks a month. And if you work harder, you should be able to, do better. But now people are working 2-3 jobs just to feed themselves. Yeah. They wonder why the millennials aren't having kids. Well, that's easy. They can't afford housing. You want to bring in a kid when you're bouncing from couch? No. They have no job security. And on top of that, education. Now, when I first got to this country, the state education systems, like we have the UC system here in Berkeley, they're basically free. You paid $35 entrance fee if you were a state resident, and that was your call. That was your, you had to pay for books and your cost of living, but that was it. They pretty much got free education, the baby boomer generation. Same in New York and across the country. Now they don't have that, and the price of college has gone up like 300%. So these poor kids are indebted, 100, 120,000, even if it's like 50,000. That's like 2 new cars. Yeah. And the interest on that is, compounding interest. They'll never get out of that debt, a lot of them. And there's not a job market for a BA doesn't get you a job anymore.
Right.
You need a master's degree or higher if you think you're going to get in the 80K plus a year category. It's that simple. Where a BA used to be able to get you that, you can't get that anymore. And just to get a BA, you're talking about 40 to 80 grand in debt.
Yeah. At your core, who you are as a person, you're a fighter. I'm seeing that. That's in the beginning.
A warrior of the light.
Yeah. It told you hey, you're going to die in 2 months, and you're fuck you.
Fuck you.
And I mean, even when you're creating art, your art is almost like a fist. It is.
Well, some of my art is. You got Bogbat, Burn Wallstreet, Megatropolis. Yeah. Some of it is, but some of it's just fun. Mm-hmm. Some of it's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, you still need to be invited to the conversation if you want people to listen to you. But what was it like watching the ripple effects of what you did with for example, Burn Wallstreet? Like watching other artists coming in and being inspired by it, and how that's affecting the dialogue.
I've always been one of those people. So there's not that many people in the, there's not that many people at my level.
Right.
And most of the people on higher levels in any industry or skill set tend to disregard the people below them. Mm. I've always been of the mind of it's your responsibility to teach the younger generations, whether it's, in the class of the Marine Corps, how to survive and kill, how to, interact with people say you don't have to kill, or building on a job site, giving someone skills. And that's the whole apprenticeship thing, and that's disappearing. And trust me, when there's no skilled people left in your labor force, you're a third world country.
Right.
And a skilled person during a recession is still going to get a job because the rich people are still going to want their new patio or remodel their kitchen or whatever. Yeah. Where, if you're an unskilled person, a factory worker, for instance, if the factory's gone, you're screwed. There's no other job there that you can just fit into. So for that responsibility of contributing back to the people that are, because they're helping me, I'm making money from their labor. I'm helping them. I'm giving a skill, and I always pay my workers fair. I also feel about that way with art, teaching people art, giving them confidence. Confidence is a big part of any game, whether it's art, building, combat. Mm. Confidence gets you through the day. If you think you can do it, and more importantly, the people around you think you can do it, or your chances are much higher of doing it. Yeah. There's always a possibility of fail. Sometimes shit happens. Bad weather, rock from outer space, whatever. But in most cases, if you're confident, you'll get through it.
And are you suggesting that the confidence that you can get from creating art can attribute to other parts of your life?
One of the big problems with art, every year you'll be hanging out in Burger King, and you're a burner, I'm sure you heard, I got this great idea. We're going to build this thing. It's going to be so cool. And that's the last of it. Yeah. That thing never gets created. It's because they don't have the confidence to go out and do it. But if I can inspire them, and they come talk to me, like Tori's a good example, and, if I can just build up their self-esteem and their confidence alone, that does wonders. Right. And then they're off and running. And hopefully they'll inspire people. I'm sure Tori has. I'm sure he has inspired some people.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's how it works. That's what community is about.
You're
it's making the whole group better.
Yeah, infecting people with inspiration so that disease spreads a lot faster. Yeah, it sounds like to me like what you're saying.
Or warning them of the pitfall.
Right. But it sounds like what you're saying is that more than anything, it's being able to come up with an idea and follow through and execute all the way to the end. And art could be just one mechanism for that.
Right. Well, I mean, we're talking about Burning Man. That would be the thing you're doing if you're involved in Burning Man. Right. But that can involve in your daily life.
Yeah. Finish the shit.
Set good goals. Yeah. Get a plan. Be competent. Execute.
Yeah.
And inspire others to the same. Like we were talking about the net neutrality today. I somewhat of a reputation, but most of the people follow me on Facebook, for instance. They don't know who Burning Man is. They've never heard of Burn Wallstreet. They know me from my politics. And so when I put up the net neutrality post, instantly it's all over the blogosphere, or whatever you want to call it, the interwebs. Because I have a little bit of weight in that category, and that's why I do it. So these people are informed, and they'll all be, and they'll their ripples will make up more ripples, and so on and so forth. And those poor 3 suckers that want to go vote against net neutrality, you're going to get a bazillion phone calls next week. I hope some of them are yours or your listeners.
Yeah. Now, how did people get to know you outside of this?
Just by being me. I'm a brutally honest person.
Right.
I like when you were asking me, are there any questions off limit? I don't have an off limit.
Yeah.
There's no gotcha questions for me. In fact, I appreciate better questions.
Yeah, I agree. You were saying, I think, right before we started also about how much Burning Man has changed. And I mean, of being somebody who's been with DPW.
Well, part of that is just the size of it.
Right.
And though I loved the 2002 run drive that we still were able to bring guns to Burning Man, there wasn't much shooting because it was at that point those of us with guns knew, it's probably not. We still had our guns there, but we weren't driving around shooting them like back in the old days. Off season we did, but the burners weren't there. But with that many people, it's just not safe. And most gun owners are responsible. So when it was 2004 when they finally banned firearms, nobody said a damn thing. It made sense.
Yeah.
There's just too many people. Somebody with a firearm gets on some bad drugs or breaks up with their girlfriend. Who knows what they're going to do? And if you look at America right now, Burning Man is a pretty good mirror of America.
It's a little
What do they have, mass shootings in center camp? No, that's a pretty smart move by them. So with growth, you're anything you find that cool dive bar, right? You tell a couple friends, and then it's really fun, right? And then their friends tell their friends, and the next thing you know, there's a bunch of yuppies in there. You got to wait in line to get in the place, and you don't want to go anymore.
Yeah.
Burning Man's the same thing.
What's your favorite regional you've been to?
They're all great in their own way, so it's really hard to say. But I have special affinity with Kiwi Bird. I would say would be my favorite. It was one of the earlier ones I went to, and they're really kick-ass people. And there have been, that was back in 10 and 11 that I went, 010 and 011. So they've moved their venue, they've gotten bigger. So I probably wouldn't even recognize it if I got there, but when I went, it was right at that point where it was starting to get more mainstream in their community. They're starting to build up, but it was still really, you knew everybody there.
Right. Is the size...
A real community.
Yeah. Is the size the concern?
The size is the factor.
Yeah.
Now, but if you want bigger, cooler stuff, you do need some of that size. That's how Burning Man has better infrastructure than it did, back in the day. Porta Johns got cleaned once every 3 days. Yeah. Okay, so by the halfway through the first day, you didn't want to get near those shitters. Okay, and then people were throwing garbage in it. So you educated the people to stop throwing garbage in, or let's do less. Burning Man got more money, they started cleaning the toilets more, and now it's not even an issue. Right. Where it was a huge issue before. So you do need, people at ticket sales or people contributing to artists, for instance. So the bigger you are, the better that is, so you'll get bigger and better art. You'll attract, more. A big artist is not going to go to the little event unless they have some, unless that's their hometown or something like that. They're trying to help them out. They're not just going to go to Podunk somewhere and make a big giant art piece for these people they don't know. Right. But if it's an up and coming event and they can see, there's an advantage to them and the event, they'll be more inclined to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember, this is some of the questions that I like to ask a lot of guests, do you remember the first time that you saw a piece of art out there that inspired you to think, I want to create some shit out here?
I was already creating before I went in the ring.
Long before.
Burning that, so I can't really say that, no.
Sure.
I've seen a lot of stuff that, wow, cool. Yeah.
But you went in there already.
There's a lot of, great artists out there. I'm not,
You went in there already thinking, all right, I'm going to build a bunch
of stuff. That's why I went there.
Right.
But there's no other reason for me to, I can party here in the Bay Area. Yeah. I don't need to go out there. I've done my time in the desert, getting shot at. I don't need to go out and you think those little windstorms at Burning Man or something, try a 7-day sandstorm. Okay, where you can't stay still because you'll get buried.
Yeah. And nothing that was out there was unfamiliar to you. You'd already experienced it.
No. And part of that, there's other veterans that are attracted to that harsh environment too, because misery loves company. The best stories are how shit went wrong and everybody was miserable, but we all survived and we're here talking about it, smiling about it now. Yeah. So, that's part of that.
Has there been anything on this journey so far that has shocked you from the direction that it's all gone in?
Yeah. Burning Man, and again, so the switch from radicals participating. I know Burning Man still uses their 9 or their 10 principles, whatever it is. That's garbage. If you got plug and play camps and they got a cleanup crew, and we've always had a cleanup crew, and if you're paying Mexicans to clean up your plug and play camp or don't clean it up at all, that's not part of it. If you're not helping build the camp, how are you participating?
Right.
So, and I understand why Burning Man did it, because, like I said, the event is evolving. It brings them more money. It's America. It's a capitalist country. More money is good. The people involved in running Burning Man, they're at that coming up on that retirement age, or some of them are. And Burning Man has, in its beginning days, didn't make a lot of money. In fact, a lot of times, they barely made ends meet. Now they're making money, and so I get that, but trying to sell it as off as allowing that, and then trying to sell it off as this 10 principles thing. No, just get rid of the 10 principles, or make them 5 principles, or call them suggestions, whatever, or get rid of the plug and play stuff.
Yeah.
And say, no, you have to participate. That's what makes Burning Man special. If you're going to sell that, do that.
Yeah. I wonder if, it's almost like saying, I got a paper cut on my finger, so I might as well chop off the whole finger. I mean, you're still trying to aspire to something, right?
Well, I think the regionals is what they're trying to do. Aspire, all things come to an end eventually, whether it's us, whether it's our lives, or in the 80s, we all knew Jerry Garcia was really fat and shooting up too much heroin. We knew it was going to end. Burning Man's kind of at that stage now. He's not dead yet, but the show's not as good, and we know it's on borrowed time.
Yeah.
So people are starting to look or create. It's even better. Create the next new thing, and so these regionals are doing it. And there's other festivals and whatnot. I know Burning Man doesn't like to be called a festival, but they are out there that are amazing too.
Right. I saw on Facebook there was some event that we were both I was looking at the invites and the posts, and I think you posted. I don't think Burning Man
our tournament
really wants me there.
Yeah. Burning Man has always had kind of a love-hate relationship.
I mean, are you referring to the org or the culture?
I'm talking to the org mostly. Okay. But the org is pretty big. A big part of the culture is the org. And I don't mean just like the top org. I mean the whole network. And it is a huge network. Or fuckocracy, as I like to call it.
Fuckocracy?
Yeah. If you want to get ahead in Burning Man, you got to fuck somebody. And they're not gender biased. They will fuck anybody.
Cool. I mean, I like to get laid.
Yeah. Well, you don't want your job to be relied on that, though.
Tell me about that, though. What is it?
Well, that's not too different from most industries. I'm really surprised that people are surprised about Weinstein. Yeah. Everybody in that business known he's been a creep for the last fucking 40 years. Why are they surprised? Yeah. I mean, we all make jokes about, she went to go get the movie job, hint, hint, elbow, elbow. I mean, it's that same thing happens in all businesses.
Right. No, it's a reflection of what you're saying, though. It's the love-hate relationship, because on one hand...
No, I'm not saying that's right either.
Right. No, but what we were saying earlier is that they let you do this very overtly political piece because they know you.
Right.
But then...
and I thought, there was me and Burning Man battled over that piece. Right. A lot.
But they still made you... They were still cool with you making it, and you still continued to be involved. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then...
but by the end of it, both parties, myself and them, knew that was it between us.
That was the...
And to be honest, physically, I was at the point I could hardly walk anymore. I was, I was boozing or whatever, smoking or whatever I had to do to be able to walk. Yeah. And I was trying to hide this from my crew, trying to hide this from the org. I was just that I hadn't been able to drive for a couple of years at that point, and people always, I go to parties and people say, oh, you look great, right? I'm good at hiding my pain. I've got 25 years of fucking practice, and nobody wants to be around the fucking person that's suffering, and if they care about you, that just hurts them. They want to help you, they can't, and that just makes you bummed because they're nagging you to help you, and them bummed because they can't help you. So the best thing to do is hide it or not go out.
Yeah, no, I had the same thought when we walked in here. My first thought was like, I can tell you're not feeling like at 100%.
Right, like the little rocking I'm doing here. That's the pain trigger thing.
Yeah. No, there's. You can definitely see it. There's some stuff in the muscle memory. But here we are.
Yeah.
We're moving on to you're continuing to fight. You're continuing to stay active.
Yeah. And I would, I've even thought about doing an art piece, not a Burning Man related one, but a political one, because of Trump and his fucking wall bullshit. And I had a great idea. And by the way, if anybody wants to take this idea and run with it, go ahead.
All right, here it
I
is.
wanted to go down to like San Diego or just outside of San Diego, find somebody, private property. It's got to be a private property, otherwise they'll be all over your shit. But eventually they'll, the government will force them out using what's that called, intimate domain to build their wall, but to build a wall of doors. All kinds of doors going every kind of direction, and have people because I had people want to donate doors to when I came up with this idea, and I said, everybody paint their own door, I would make it like a wiggly wall down where the wall would have, so they would have to eventually someday knock down this piece to build their wall, which would be again making a statement, because the thing that makes America great is the people that come here. All the people that come here. Its diversity is its strength and its power. Yeah.
There's so many things about you that to me is like, it's funny. It's such a classic burner profile, in that I can see how a person would be intimidated by you. But a lot of what you're saying is about love and openness and community and building. But it comes in a bit of like a.
Well, I'm a 6'4". 250-pound guy.
Yeah.
A Viking guy. I look like one.
Yeah, I look like a fucking Viking.
Right. So no, I'm quite aware of my physical appearance being intimidating towards people.
Yeah, and you're a soldier and you're a fighter and guns.
But that's why I try to open up to people quickly. Because we all have misconceptions of people all the time. I'm pretty good at it, Nonetheless, I make mistakes. I read people the wrong way. Give somebody a chance. Give them enough rope. If they hang themselves, then walk away. If they don't, then, you got a new friend or at least a good acquaintance.
Yeah. I've always liked asking this question from not just artists, but just any human. What, if you could go back in time and give advice to 25-year-old you, what would it be? Don't
get married.
That's it?
Marriage is bullshit.
Yeah.
Cost me a $450,000 house.
Oh. Do you think that's advice for all 24-year-olds or specifically for you?
Well, specifically, first of all, most 24-year-olds aren't going to listen to most big life advice like that. Yeah. So if I was to go back and tell myself, knowing that was myself, I might listen. But if some old guy showed up and when I was 25 and said, hey, dude, don't get married, I already heard that from old guys when I was 25 years old. Yeah, sure, I'll do it right.
Whatever.
Right. So, and no, love is a weird thing. One thing people got to understand, though, about love in the modern world is we live a lot longer now. And so if you got a good 5-year relationship, I look at that as a successful relationship.
Yeah.
Anything 5 years or more.
Yeah.
And back in the day, you would have been dead by then. But, we don't live in the 1800s or the 2000 BC where people died at the age of 25. Or as children, even. We live in an age where people, at least live over 50 and sometimes in their 90s and shit. So long term, and we don't live in a culture that's team orientated. Like our communities are disintegrating. So is our relationships with each other. I mean, you see with the cell phones. You're at a party, they're sitting on the same bench with their friend texting back and forth. That's not communicating.
Yeah.
No, I have nothing wrong with texting. That's it's a wonderful thing on a cell phone. But if you're sitting next to the person, turn your fucking phone off and talk to them.
Yeah.
And so people, they're unlearning how to be people and communicate with each other. So they snap more. They get upset about an instant gratification. Yeah, you can get instant gratification from a machine, but people are a little different. You got to do a little work there, and you got to be accepting of their imperfections.
Right. Can you think of your happiest moment in life?
Well, I've had quite a few amazing moments. I'm happiest.
It's the first one that pops in your mind.
Barley Man. So in 2007, I did the Early Man. I don't know if you know about Early Man. About a week before the event.
I don't. Yeah.
Okay, we do it's a crew thing in Burn, and it's turned into this big thing now. Yeah. They do multiple pieces, but back in the day, one person would put their hand up, or they assign somebody. Hey, it was usually somebody man crew, and I helped on a lot of the early years, but it was my turn, and so I built a man. But he was sitting in a reclining chair, and he had a big beer gut and cowboy boots on, and his arms worked, and he had a big beer stein full of white gas in one hand, and a big joint in the other. So he lit the joint, so the end of the joint's on fire, and so his arms worked, so he drank the beer, pouring white gas over, and he hit the joint and got lit.
Oh, wow.
And the burn was phenomenal, and it was all my co-workers and peers, and they were all cheering their asses off, and it was like being a rock star. It was very spiritually empowering, and motivated me to want to do more and more. Wow.
What was your saddest moment?
When I found out my daughter was dead.
Can you talk about that?
Sure. I've been divorced for about a year and a half. I was out helping a friend in Illinois who was going through some family issues, and it was somebody I'd been to some conflicts with, so, it was definitely going to go out. He wanted to kill his whole family because they were acting like a pack of vultures because his dad was dying and property involved and stuff. So I went out there to help him, and it took his dad longer to die. So I had to get a job to support myself while I was out there. And I'm paying child support and alimony, and one day my check had nothing taken out of it for that, and I know how the government operates. So I went down to the Child Protective Services, or I forget what the name of it was, the Illinois version, to say, hey, here's a check, because I don't want you to try to take, I don't want you to wait 3 months and then try to nail me all at once, because that's what they do. I'm going to give you a check now, you give me a receipt, so if they do come back, I can say, no, I already paid you. And they said, oh, it's okay, you don't have to worry about that, your daughter's dead.
They told you that? Wow. That's how you found out?
Yeah.
What year was this?
That was 94.
Did you hide that pain, or did you have people to lean on?
One thing, I'm more mad than anything. I'm pretty immune to death. I've had lots of people die in front of me, or people I've known in my lifetime die. But this is my offspring. So yeah, my first reaction was not sadness; it was anger.
Does anger help protect you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anger is a shell. The two strongest emotions we have is anger and love.
Yeah.
What
was your last year on Playa?
2012.
2012.
Well, I've been out there to do Frog Bat at 2013, and attempted to do it again at 14. That's 4th of July. It's not Burning Man.
You've been out to 4th of July?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to do this thing called Frog Bat, which blows Burning Man away. But it's
Frog
only
Bat?
Yeah, Frog Bat. In fact, you can Google Frog Bat. There's videos, lots and lots of videos. It's basically a winged frog monster, and it eats hippies. And the pretense that so when they're small, they eat bugs, and they get bigger and they eat hippies. Nobody cares because there's hippies all over the place up there. Nobody notices when hippies are gone. But eventually, it gets so big, they start going after DPW and locals, and that's when you got to get a posse together and kill the frog bat. I fill it with pyrotechnics and explosives and propane. We got a flare in the back to make sure the propane goes off, and a firing line of anywhere from 100. The biggest firing line I had up there was about 250 guns, basically a battalion FPF, protective fire. At this frog bat got really big, really fast. So I had to move it off the playa and make it more like a secret thing. Because I don't want to be a Larry Harvey. I don't want to run an event. That's not my thing. But I love doing rug band. I did it for fun. So to keep it fun, I moved it and scaled it down in the amount of participants. But like the third time I showed out there, they literally caused a traffic jam in the middle of the desert.
Right.
And it was just to the level where I knew that I couldn't control it anymore. And if I was going to keep going that way, there would have to be much more infrastructure and control, command, and I'd have to deal with law enforcement much more severely. So I decided to scale it down, but I still did it.
Yeah.
I did it on private property. Every time I've always done it on private property. That's how you avoid law enforcement. Burning Man should learn that lesson too.
We had said that you've I don't know, for lack of a better description, have had some numbing to dealing with death because you've seen that in war, you've seen it in life. What do you think about your own death?
I'm Norse. We don't. It's going to happen. There's no point in thinking about it. It's like breathing. It's going to happen.
Yeah. It's not.
I don't. I've had a full life.
Right.
If I kicked down right now, I'd be happy with my life.
You feel that you left a good legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with continuing that legacy, but like I said, if I kicked off right now,
right.
I think the scoreboard's in my favor. More than I've traveled the world a few times. I've seen, I've been in every kind of, I've even been in a volcano. I've been in every kind of Mother Nature catastrophe, except for I have not been in a tsunami or a tidal wave. But everything else I've done. Some of them multiple times, like earthquakes.
Well, fuck, we got to get you in a tsunami then.
No, we don't.
There's
But I'm saying, what I'm saying is, even the bad stuff, I have vast amounts of experience. And so, that's what life is about, having great experiences, or, and bad ones that mold you into what you are.
Right. It's funny, like one of I've had like a really challenging time dealing with family and friends who are dealing with death. Because I sort of feel about the same way that you do. It's weird. It's strange.
And most people think, you're callous.
Right.
You don't care. Right. You don't have the emotions. No, I'm so sad if somebody dies. I'm just going to celebrate the good memories, and I'm going to continue on with my life, because that's what you got to do.
Right.
There's no point in dwelling on that. And they're dead. They don't care.
It's the only absolute inevitability
of
life.
Like I said, like breathing. If I'm going to keep living, I'm going to keep on breathing. It's just going to happen. It's not worth worrying about.
Yeah. What would do you think about the legacy, for example, that you're describing? Because that's something that I think about.
I'll be in Valhalla drinking beer. So if you guys want to do something with my memory afterwards, that's up to you. I don't care. I'll be drinking beer and killing hell on the light bridge.
Yeah. I feel like what a lot of us want is to have left this world a little bit of a better place than the one that we walked into.
But I feel I've done that already.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
And just built more onto that hotel, so to speak.
Right.
My Lego tower is pretty damn tall.
If your health wasn't where it was, would you be interested in continuing to build right now?
Oh, yeah. Like I was talking about that wall of
door
doors.
Thing, yeah.
I would love to go to, like the new regional in Israel on the Saudi border, Midburn. I'd love to go out there and, build with those guys and teach them what I know. Maybe I'll learn a thing or two myself,
Yeah.
You're never too old to learn. In fact, if you think you know it all, then, just jump off a bridge because you're done. Nobody knows it all.
Mm. There's an air about you, Otto, like that's something that I generally notice in leaders. There's almost a sense that you have no memory of of not having been this way. Like you didn't have to train to be this version of Otto.
No.
Like this is the person
I've been this way since the get-go.
Were your parents this way?
My father, in their own ways. Mm. I haven't seen my father since I was 6, but my mom was a 6-foot, blonde, blue-eyed Norwegian goddess. She could walk into a room, bat her eyes 3 times, and even the women would do what she wanted. And she liked having sex with men, but she hated men. So she went through them like a hot knife through butter. And she knew this and had that power. And like I guess she had that air about her. My father was the same way, he didn't take advantage of women, but he was very confident in what he did. The way I learned how to swim is he threw me in the North Sea.
Yeah.
The way I learned how to rock climb is he fucking took me to the top of the mountain and said, find your way home.
At 6?
Yeah, no, at 5.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm here breathing, right?
I mean, nobody else came and found you halfway through it.
Well, I'm sure he fucking followed me up, you know, and we're not sadistic, but that built my confidence up. And when you're that young and you realize I can survive,
right?
It's huge.
I mean, I
huge. One of the things they like in school systems, for instance, over there, the first things they teach you is scientific method and free thought. That's pretty much all you really need to teach with the modern internet generation. If you understand finding different reference points and doing actual research, not just Googling something, that's all you really need to know to find and figure anything out. Now, you figure out what you like and you master in that, what that is. Sometimes for some people it's multiple things.
Right.
Some people, they find that one thing that they're really good at and they really love and it supersedes everything else, and that's what they go for.
I get the sense, like I get the feeling that, we all have our buttons, and I feel like one of your buttons is watching bullies.
I'm an anti-bully.
Yeah.
Always have been. If I see the kids picking on the kids in the sandbox, I would go over and get between them and say, come on, bring it here.
Yeah.
Because bullies prey on weak.
Yeah.
And what they perceive as weak. Right? The kid that you're probably picking on, though, has probably got a $120,000 a year job right now and is driving a Porsche. Mm-hmm. And they're probably, on the unemployment line or working at Walmart. But, that's kind of a stereotypical thing, too. But what I'm saying is what they perceive, and even, like Trump, if he perceives somebody as having a weakness, he's going to push that button. Mm-hmm. That's what bullies do. And that's not cool.
Right.
And women do it too. There's a lot of gender bias that I don't get. Vikings. I know we're perceived, the Christians have made this thing of us looking like we're a bunch of heathen and rapists that pillage across. The term Viking means to go travel, to explore and to trade. No part of war in there. Now, if you're an asshole, we'll kill the shit out of you. Yeah. But here's the other thing. Half our army is women. In fact, the general, the clan leader might be a woman. So this whole gender bullshit is bullshit.
Right. Now, there wasn't
and I get grabbed on the ass. I know the Me Too thing is gone, and I feel in American culture, I'm sure the women take a huge brunt of it. Okay, but I've been grabbed on the ass by many times by women I would not ever touch. It's not a sexually exclusive, gender exclusive thing. Sexual harassment is bad. No matter who does it, and sexual, assault is even worse. Like, Roy Moore, the child molester, and people will still vote for that guy. That's America, right? In Norway, he'd be in prison.
Why is that? Why would he? Why is that?
American culture, because he waved the Bible around,
right,
and his gun around,
right,
and they're willing to sell their souls for the few things they've been programmed to think, they need to defend.
Mm-hmm. Something.
You got to understand their perspective, or you're never going to get them to think otherwise.
Right. If you had the capability to snap your finger and fix Burning Man, what would it be?
Well, there's no silver bullet for any problem. And Burning Man isn't broken. Mm-hmm. Now, how would I make Burning Man more the way I liked it? It would be the better question there. And the first thing I would do is get rid of the plug and plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Plain and simple. You want to be part of Burning Man, you have to participate. You want to be in a theme camp, you need to be out there helping build it. Mm-hmm. And that builds community. That way, that rich person gets to meet those middle class or poor people. There's an interaction there, and so they see each other's perspectives, and they interact and create bonds and friendships that transcend Burning Man, and that's what moves the Burning Man community used to, be very active once they left Burning Man.
Right.
But now it's, I flew into Burning Man, I partied.
Yeah.
Did some hookers and blow, got back on the plane, flew out, some guy cleaned that shit up. I'm all cool. Yeah. It's not the same experience. I'm not saying that's a bad experience, no. I'm sure they have a great time. I'm sure Burning Man is fun for everybody that goes to Burning Man, except for the guy that got dumped or the gal that got dumped. There's a few people that have a good time at Burning Man, but for the majority had a good time. They partied. They ate great food and listened to music and danced their night away and watched some shit explode. And it's a good time. But it's not the same as the community that it used to be. In fact, the first time even the movie I was in, Spark, just starts to discuss that, when they're talking about with their raffle, which I warned them about, by the way. Don't do that.
The raffle?
They didn't know what to do when they sold out. And so they did it was a lottery basically system to get tickets. And I told them, you do that and you're going to lose the community. There's people who have been doing this for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and now you're telling them it's luck of the draw whether you go. And from an artist or theme camp perspective, it's like, I need these 20 people to build my thing, or these 50 people to build this thing. And if they don't even know if they're going to get a ticket, I can't commit to anything. And it was a huge issue. And like I said, they discussed it a bit in the movie Spark.
Right.
And there's the biggest problem with Burning Man's whole ticket fiasco is scalpers.
Yeah.
And their two-tier system. So rich people, unlimited, extra expensive tickets. Now, that's great for rich people, but that excludes the majority of people from Burning Man. So, that makes Burning Man more money, and I get why they do that. More money. It's a capitalist society. Make more money. Cool. I understand that. But nonetheless, it's exclusive. Now there's less tickets for regular people. So the dynamics of it change.
Right.
Just like Americans, like I said, Burning Man does shadow America. So, rich and powerful it's more inclusive for them, and for everybody else, fuck you.
Yeah.
And so the solution is what like Bonnaroo and Coachella do. Everybody, with your one credit card and your name, whatever, you can buy 2 tickets, you pick up at will call. There's one more booth, and they're in a line forever anyways. So you put one more booth out there, they walk up and get their will call. While they're waiting in the line, walk up, get back in their car, because they're going to be waiting to get through the line anyways, to pick up their tickets. That way, a family of 4, mom buys 2 tickets, dad buys 2 tickets, your 4 people get in. So there's no argument, we couldn't bring our family in. Yeah. And there's no scalper in the world that's going to drive all the way out there, wait in that line to get 2 tickets, and drive back to Gerlach with all that law enforcement around to try to scalp 2 tickets. So you're done with the scalpers, which is where most of those tickets go. We're talking about 15,000, 20,000 tickets. If that much more tickets was available, it wouldn't even be an issue. Yeah, and Burning Man would still sell out, but it wouldn't be the big scramble worry that it is now.
No, Otto, what's a fascinating thing about you is that you have this absolute intensity.
Well, don't bitch about something if you don't have a solution.
Right. Absolutely. No, and that's actually exactly on point. There's this intensity about you, which I can totally see. Somebody might interact and they might misread, but you are actually pretty optimistic about the human condition, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I know that a lot of people look at it because everybody remembers the bad.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a big guy. If I yell at somebody at a party, I could have fun, a great time with all these people, and we talked about this, that, and the other thing, but everybody's going to remember when I yelled at that guy for grabbing that girl's ass.
You're a provocateur.
Yeah.
Like that. It's almost like who you are as a person is a part of like the kind of art that you create. You push buttons and poke people.
Yeah, well, every artist is looking for a response.
Right.
And sometimes they're good response, sometimes they're bad response, but the key is getting the response.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying is that, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but what I feel like is that you are actually even, humorously enough, more optimistic than a lot of artists that I've met who are pushing harder buttons, and I feel like they're more attached to an end idea. Whereas for you actually.
Well, I'm looking at the big picture.
Spirit.
You got to look at the big picture, and I get that. If your mom died of cancer, where cancer is a thing for you. I mean, I got cancer to me, and I can give a damn. Right. But I look at the big spectrum of things, and yes, cancer's in there, but it's just one of many things. And so, you can't really. If somebody got directly affected by something, it's understandable why they would put more energy into that. Right. I'm just not that type of person.
Yeah. You believe in people.
I believe in giving people a chance. Some people are fucked. I'll be the first one. If I realize I will help you as much as I can. With if I have a lot of resources, and like right now I don't have a lot, but I got a couch you can sleep on. I can call some friends, try to get you work, whatever. I'll help any way I can as long as they're helping themselves. So I realize that they are not willing to help themselves, or they're just trying to get over. Get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah.
I ain't got time. Or like you're arguing on the internet with politics with them. Get to the point where they just start saying fake news. You realize, they've got a bubble. There's no point in even trying to communicate with this person anymore.
Do you have a rule for how long you give people before you say, all right, I've tried? Is there a time limit?
Well, I try to give people I give them the 3 chances. First, and this is the same like if somebody hits on you that you're not interested in, right? Same 3 chances. Once I'll tell you nicely, I'm not looking to get with anybody now, right? And not direct, but nicely way of saying, go on, or somebody's, sleeping like, hey, you need to start working. It'd be cool if you went down to Home Depot you can get some work down there. Make the nice suggestion. The second time, straight in the face. Look, don't touch me again. Yeah. For the person hitting on me, I'm not interested in. Or for the person on my couch, get a fucking job. If I see you sitting on my couch playing video games, you're out of here. And the third time is, you're fucked. Get the fuck away from me. Fuck you. Yeah. And that depends also on severity. If it's bad enough, you get strike 1, you're out.
Right.
The guy that's grabbing pussy at the party, strike 1, you're out.
Yeah. Do you find yourself in that role pretty often? Being the person who does have to speak up when other people are saying
yes, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people are they're not into conflict. And I'm not into conflict either. Right. I'm just willing to deal with it because I don't want to deal with it later on. That's what people need to realize. A truly lazy person will get shit done so they can just chill and enjoy their laziness. Yeah. Same thing with dealing with problems. If you confront the problem and get it done, then you don't have to deal with it anymore. Yeah. There's plenty of shit to deal with. Let's get that one off the list.
The sooner you face it right in the eyes, the sooner it goes away and you don't
even
have to
if you can't fix it, right? The same me and you didn't get along. If I tell you, I don't like the way you're doing that, and you say, well, I don't like the way you're doing that, and we don't agree, at least now we both know that we don't like each other.
At least we have it out.
Right? And we're more inclined to, be socially, that guy. I'm not going to go fuck that guy and talk shit behind your back. We've already resolved we know we're different. Yeah. It's not going to be an issue in the future. You're not going to hear about me talking shit about your behind at your back because I've already told you to your face. Yeah.
Where is all of this going? Where is all of do you have any bets on where we're going to end up as a society?
Well, with climate change, it was looking more and more like we're going to get option B. But option A is the one we're striving for, Star Trek, right? Yeah. Where we all take care of each other, we explore the universe and the beauties and the wonders, and we have to deal with conflicts and problems and Klingons and whatnot. But for the most part, things are pretty goddamn good for everybody. And yes, you can excel and get more benefits, but even your average person is worth something and is taken care of. The other option B, is Mad Max. Mm-hmm. I know that shit looks great in the movies, but you don't want to live. And that's what we're heading straight for right now.
Do you think it's more likely that we're going to end up in Mad Max?
And the way things are going, yes. That's why we have to fight hard that we don't. And just from climate change. Yeah. When there's no more water left or there's no more food left, it's going to be down to cannibalism. Whoever's, living on the Arctic Circle eating, whatever humans are strong enough to kill the other humans and eat them, the ones we want, I don't know long enough. If things go as they're going. If we were to halt everything we're doing, all combustion engines tomorrow, coal plants, shut them all down tomorrow, we still probably lose 2 billion people.
What is the most important skill, do you think, that a person needs for whatever this new future is going to be?
Well, the skills we need to do what we need to do right now is slow or stop that from happening. Mm-hmm. But if you're looking at it's going to happen with survival skills, any basic survival skills, know how to kill, gut, hunt, grow, figure out how to do your own solar power if you're out of the bush. Stockpile shit if you're into that, I don't personally want to go build a bomb shelter in northern Canada and wait it out right now. I think, enjoy life as much as you can, but you should be somewhat prepared. Right. Having kids right now might not be the smartest idea because your kids might be human eating cannibals on the Arctic Circle. And I see my friends having kids and I'm happy for them because I know they're happy now, but I feel sad because I know those kids are probably going to be human cannibals on the fucking Arctic Circle in 20 years from now.
I think that might be the call-out line from this interview. Your kids might be human cannibals in the Arctic Circle.
Well, it's a reason that hopefully that would motivate them to, not just fucking post on the internet, make those phone calls.
Yeah.
Vote.
Yeah.
Of the last election, right? Only half the country voted. So when you talk about the Trump base, we're talking about 25% of our population. Yeah. The Clinton base is 25.1, There's not any difference at all. Just the, electoral college thing. But who wanted either one of those? If that other 49 million people or whatever it is voted, we'd have had Bernie Sanders. I'm not saying he would have been a cure-all, but he'd definitely been a better choice than either one of those two fucking mongrels.
Right. What would you say to people who feel that even engaging in the system means that you're playing their game?
To a point, they're correct. If people aren't voting, and you go vote, and your choice is Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, both horrible candidates, both horrible narcissistic people that do horrible shit. Now you can argue which one's better or not. I'm not going to get into that argument. I'm just going to say they're both bad. Mm. And you vote for one of them or the other, and you're not causing change. You should do what I did and vote for a third party candidate.
Yeah.
And had everybody been pissed off enough to do that, we'd have a third party candidate, a person in the White House, or at least their funding would go way up next election.
Right.
People do get trapped into the system, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't participate. You just need to redirect where you participate, get more involved in local politics. Mm-hmm. Run yourself. Yeah. If you don't like the politicians, run yourself. Start out running for the school board or city council, state senator, Start small, work your way up, just like with art, right? You build a 10-foot art piece first, and then the 20-foot, then you're off and running. You build confidence, you build a core of supporters that will financially help you out, and your ideals will get out. Same thing in art and politics. But, in art you can do hookers and blow and LSD, and nobody will think bad about it. You run for politics doing that shit, and, the press will get wind of that, and you're done.
I don't know, I used to think that.
Okay. In the more progressive side, you're done. Right? You can't be a progressive and be, I did hooker to blow in fucking Vegas.
You think we can't have, a progressive version of Trump that just, unapologetically says, fuck it.
Because he's not progressive.
Yeah.
A progressive is not anti-woman.
Yeah.
A progressive is not anti-black. A progressive is not anti-immigrant or anti-Mexican or anti-anything. They're all Americans to me, right? When I see this shit about they're just shooting black people and black people bad. No, those are black Americans. Okay, first of all. So here you have the government killing your fellow Americans. I don't care what color they are. I've seen the videos. We've all seen the videos. They didn't even murder those people. And you could have shot him once in the leg. If you thought you were threatened, shoot him in the leg.
Yeah.
He ain't going nowhere. Take him to jail, patch him up, done. Instead, they empty fucking 5 magazines into the motherfuckers. And they wonder why the black community is going crazy, and part of the white community, because some of us think those are human beings and fellow Americans.
Has the world turned out the way that you thought it would?
It's been pretty predictable, yeah. I didn't think it would get as corporate as fast as it got.
Right.
Citizens United surprised me. I didn't think that was going to get through the Supreme Court. And it's been pretty downhill from there.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're continuing to stay active. I mean, does it feel like it's...
Well, I have to. I mean, it's your responsibility.
Right, but if it's all inevitable anyway, what's the...
But it's not inevitable. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's definitely got momentum and it's rolling down the hill. But that doesn't mean you can't put some logs in the way to slow it down and get enough people to build something and stop it.
Yeah.
Right? It's your responsibility. Because in the end, if you don't, we're all fucked.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those your kids are cannibals on the Arctic Circle. You want that? No. I mean, even rich people, it's like, yeah, okay, you might have your bunker. You're good for 2 years. What do you do after that? Oh, that's right. You're cannibals on the Arctic Circle. There's no escape plan.
Yeah.
There's no second Earth somewhere that you're just going to beam to, buddy. And even if you don't care about yourself, at least care about your kids or, other people's kids.
what is going to be your next project if this oil continues to work and your cancer goes away? What's next for Otto?
Then, like I said, I'm working on the liver, but if it would probably try to push myself physically, try to get back into some kind of shape where I could build again. And then it's any man's game. I might still do that wall I was talking about.
Right.
Or it could be something completely different. Like I said, I'd like to go to a regionals, some of these other regionals, and build. So if I can get myself physically able to tolerate the pain where I can move around more, that's totally what I would do.
But for the time being, Otto has no plans to roll over and quit.
No. Not at all.
Dig it. Otto, thank you so much for sitting down with us. Really appreciate it. And I always want to thank you on behalf of the community for all the fucking work that you've done and all the art you've built and all the motivation you've given. You're someone who, anybody who speaks about you with like such high regard. You have a lot of respect and seen as such an OG. And I want to thank you for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
All right.
There it is. There's Otto, and I can tell you, just recording him today, he's absolutely still very much refusing to bow down to any fortune that has been written for him. He just pinged. Actually, he's excited about this episode coming around. So, Otto Von Danger, you are now listening to Dénouement's Tuesday night mix, which was recorded at the Burners Without Borders camp in Black Rock City this year. Dénouement, aka Dana, was like, this mix is dirty. These are her exact words, by the way. Quote, I'm a rotary knob person, so it's like real dirty, like straight Chicago and Detroit. No unicorns. By the way, she also spelled, in the email, she spelled straight STR and the number 8. Straight dirty. The pitch control, I'm just going to share with you some technical stuff that I don't understand. The pitch control was broken on the left side and a dust storm invaded camp, so Dana was like kind of backwards mixing in the middle of a dust storm with a broken deck. And I love these stories. And I know Dana's a vinyl DJ and doesn't typically use the sync button, so if you want an example of the advantages you get to perfecting your craft, I'd say this is a prime example. I've been rocking this set all day. Follow Dénouement on Facebook by searching for Deep Frequenciez. Deep is spelled deep like normal, but Frequenciez is spelled FREQUENCIEZ, or visiting facebook.com/deephzdj. And on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/D-NOUEMENT. Please give us a like on Facebook and join the group. I love seeing like the discussions that are happening in there. And please do leave us a review on iTunes. It does help get the show more visible so that more of our tribe can be a part of this conversation. All of these links are over at burnerpodcast.com. You can connect with me on all of the social medias at Mr. Arash. That's MRARASH. I am most active on Facebook and Instagram, but you can tweet me and stuff as well, and I'll eventually get back. Burner Podcast is released on the first and third Wednesdays of the month and is available on Stitcher, iTunes, Spreaker, iHeart Radio, and TuneIn Radio, among many others. The show is not hard to find. This episode was produced by Rebel Dharma, along with associate producer Tori Massey. We thank you, dear listeners, for all of your support. Our opening music, America's Horse with No Name Remix, is produced by Joe Man, who, by the way, is also Denver-based, like Dénouement, the other music you're hearing in the background right now. Anyway, check out DJ Joe Man over at soundcloud.com/DJ Joe Man. So until next time, love and light and all that other crap. Take it away, Dénouement.
scratches in my shit. Hey, y'all motherfuckers having a good time. Y'all alright? Wait a minute, hold on, my mic all fucked up and shit. Hold on, fuck that. Fuck that shit. Hold on. I got to start this motherfucking record over again. Wait a minute. Fuck that shit. Still on this motherfucking record. Yeah, that's what's happening. Oh yeah. Hey, y'all motherfuckers having a good time. Hey, look here, I'm gonna play some, hey, wait. I'm gonna play some new from y'all. They gon', oh, they must have left. They like, fuck it, okay. Go and take the picture back. What's happening? Y'all all right? Well, let's see. They told me I ain't supposed to play no more records. But they don't know me like you know. Yeah, that's what's happening. Hey, y'all motherfuckers having a good time? Oh man, that's what's happening. Hey, I hope y'all out here enjoying yourselves. I'm just up here fucking around. I don't even know what to play. I tell you what I'm gonna do. What I got on the turntables. Hey, what y'all motherfuckers wanna hear? We had two categories. We had that good shit, and we had that other shit. Hey, wait. I ain't gonna play no more of my shit now. I'd heard that shit a million times. I ain't gonna play no more of my shit. I tell you what, fuck that. I wanted somebody to give me a CD or a vinyl or some talent from right here. Fuck the rest of the world. Fuck these motherfuckers. I need something from right here. From right here. What you got, a cassette? Damn, you got a cassette? I ain't got no cassette. What you got, baby? He want to hear something. He wants some Edwards. He wants some Sheep. I want to play this motherfucker some Sheep right here. And right, what I got in my hand right here, I got, damn, Mysteries of the World. Okay. Oh yeah. Hey, y'all motherfuckers having a good time. You know, but I'm glad y'all in here having a good time doing your thing.
I still have a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream. Just as I have a dream. I have a dream today. I have a dream. I have a dream. One day, this nation will rise up. This nation will rise up. This nation will rise up. One day. 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 I still have a dream. One day. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. One day. I have a dream. One day. This nation will rise up. One day. Live out the true meaning of its creed. One day. We hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men are created. One day. One day. One day. One day. One day. I have a dream. 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 My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. One day. 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 Day. One day.
Let's drink some tea and smoke some herb. with space. Go to the park later, get some ice cream. Don't stop now. Just keep on going until I come. Until I come in. Just keep on going. Just keep on
burnerpodcast.com.